After encountering vibrant colors and hearing an enigmatic voice announcing his triumph, a young boy abruptly awakens within what appears to be a morgue. With no recollection of his past, he endeavors to exit the room, inadvertently startling the staff. Shortly thereafter, he is transported back, accompanied by a concerned woman named Rudy, who expresses worry about his well-being. Overwhelmed, the boy loses consciousness only to regain it in a hospital room. In a bid to escape, he dashes down the corridor, only to be met with unsettling gazes and cryptic utterances from doctors and nurses. Faced with a malfunctioning elevator, the boy resorts to climbing out of the window, but slips and falls due to the rain. Miraculously, an unknown force halts his descent, allowing him to stand on the side of the building as if it were customary. A window cleaner, sporting the same eerie stare, appears walking on the wall, and when the boy questions the reality of the situation, the man strikes him to authenticate the pain. This enigmatic individual is the Guardian, who reveals that the boy is a soul stripped of memories, bestowed with the body of a teenager named Min for a second chance at life. Guiding Min to grasp the edge of the window, the Guardian rectifies reality's perspective, compelling Min to re-enter. Upon returning to bed, a nurse enters the room and administers a forceful injection, causing Min to accidentally dislodge a water bottle. As the water crystallizes in midair, the nurse unveils herself as the Guardian, capable of assuming any form. Referring to Min's body as a homestay, the Guardian explains its impermanence while presenting the boy with an hourglass, counting down the time remaining for the soul to uncover the reason behind Min's previous decision to end his life. Failure to find the answer within 100 days will result in his permanent demise with no chance of rebirth. Before departing, the Guardian cautions Min not to disclose his true identity to anyone, and finally the suspended water descends to the floor. The following morning, a doctor arrives for a checkup, which Min manages to pass by reciting his full name, read from the medication label, thereby securing permission to return home. Surprisingly, Rudy turns out to be Min's mother, and upon arriving home, Min discovers he also has an older brother named Men, who greets his return with discontent. For the time being, Rudy insists that Min sleep in the same room as Men for supervision, and he will temporarily wear Men's clothing until new ones are obtained. Overhearing his conversation, Men informs his mother that he will spend the night at a friend's place. Curious about the circumstances surrounding his previous actions, Min inquires about the day he chose to end his life, but Rudy avoids discussing the matter. Subsequently, Min encounters his father, who instead of offering a warm welcome, requests him to wait as he engages in an important call pertaining to his MLM group, from which he resigned his conventional job. When night falls, Min explores the house while everyone's asleep. Surprisingly, there are no pictures of him in albums or frames, and when he attempts to peer into his old room by looking under the door, Men discovers him and sends him away. The next morning, Min observes Men departing with 2 computers. After grabbing a set of keys from the living room, Min attempts to unlock his room but fails. Frustrated, he returns to Men's room and ventures out the window, carefully treading along the building's edge. This daring maneuver allows him to reach his own window and gain entry at last. However, upon entering, he finds a stark absence of personal belongings. Only a few pieces of empty furniture and a framed picture from his funeral remain. The sight of the date of his supposed death rattles him to the core, causing him to unintentionally drop the picture to the floor. The noise attracts Rudy's attention, and she catches Min in the act. Questioned about his belongings, Min learns that he had disposed of them himself. Tearfully, Rudy tightly embraces Min, pleading with him never to repeat his past actions. The following day, Min returns to school, relieved that at least his mother retrieved his wallet. To his surprise, he discovers a peculiar brooch and his mother's business card inside it. It turns out she is an engineer who frequently travels for work. Keeping the recent events to themselves, Rudy did not disclose the truth at school, allowing Min to explain his absence as a result of the flu. Returning to his classes isn't difficult since Min was somewhat of a loner and had few friends. The only person who approaches him is his best friend, Lai, who harbors an unrequited crush for him, just as the original Min did. Both Min and Lai are part of the card's stunt club, so Min is coerced into attending the next club meeting, where the leaders remind him of his responsibility to complete the drawing for the upcoming competition. Min diligently begins his task but gets sidetracked when he notices other students wearing identical brooches to the one he found in his wallet. Intrigued, he follows them and discovers that the brooches signify the elite students of the Olympics class. Inspired, Min adorns his brooch and attempts to join them, but the discerning teacher recognizes that he doesn't belong and promptly dismisses him. Later, Min discovers a note from his study partner, prompting him to meet her at the library. This is where he encounters Pai, a captivating girl for whom he swiftly develops feelings, mirroring the emotions of the previous Min. After class, Min resolves to use the card left by his mother to purchase stylish clothes and get a trendy haircut, hoping to impress Pai. The days pass by joyfully as Min relishes his time spent with Pi. One afternoon, his father visits the school to remind him about a meeting with the school therapist and hands Min a selection of his products to promote. The peculiar therapist begins posing uncomfortable questions about Min's adolescence before abruptly standing up and consuming a large quantity of the products Min had been given. At that moment, the medicine suspends in mid-air and Min finally comprehends that this therapist is, in fact, the guardian, who has appeared to remind Min to seek out clues. He will only have one opportunity to provide the correct answer, and if he succeeds, the hard lass will cease his countdown. A few days later, the school hosts a festival, and Min searches for Pi, only to find her in tears over a challenging practice test she struggled with. Feeling the weight of the pressures from the elite class, Min offers words of encouragement to Pi, reminding her of her greatness. He also wonders if they are a couple, but Pi denies it, mentioning that he never asked her out. Min invites her to the festival, and together they have a delightful time playing games, making wishes, and admiring the fireworks. Pi observes that Min has undergone a significant change and no longer appears sad, prompting them to hold hands. The following day, Min overhears his mother on the phone, learning that his father had sold her wedding ring to purchase more products for his unknown venture. To uplift her spirits, Min assists her in cooking durians, which he consumes without any issues. Rudy is taken aback by this, as Min used to despise durians, but she is thrilled to see that she has a rejuvenated son. She shares heartwarming anecdotes from his childhood, demonstrating the extent of her care for him during challenging times. A few days later, Min must fulfill a dare he had promised P for passing his exams. She lathers his hair with a handful of soap and convinces him to run 10 laps of the bridge, eventually joining him for company. Once they finish, P presents him with a birthday gift, a kaleidoscope she crafted herself. Pi then confesses her affection for this transformed version of Min, and the two share a kiss. Later at school, Min begins sketching a drawing of Pi at the bridge. While working in the club, he comes across some photographs that capture him in the background next to a locker. Min rushes to force open the locker, only to discover it empty. However, Lai witnesses this and reminds him that he left his laptop in her locker along with a note to give it to his mom. On that particular day when Lai visited his house, Rudy was absent, so she entrusted the laptop to Min. Back at home, Min searches Men's bedroom. Although he doesn't find the laptop, he stumbles upon the missing pictures where his face has been deliberately scratched out. Additionally, he discovers a stack of documents indicating Men's intention to study in Germany. Investigating further, Min checks Men's computer and finds a conversation where Men expresses resentment towards Min. Men blames Min for his own altered plans, as he now feels obligated to remain with the family for support instead of pursuing studies in Germany. Men admits to hating Min and harboring a wish for his demise. Furthermore, Men reveals that he discovered Min's farewell letter on the laptop and concealed it from their parents. In this moment, Min realizes that the second computer Men took upon leaving must have been his own. Determined, he heads to Men's college in search of it. Caught in the act, Men confronts Min, asserting that their family would be happier without him, and he callously tosses the computer out of the window. Reacting swiftly, Min rushes outside and finds the laptop suspended in mid-air, accompanied by the guardian's laughter. Eventually, the computer crashes to the ground. Min retrieves the laptop and manages to power it on. The only remaining file is the farewell letter, in which Min explains that it was he who had scratched his face out of the pictures. He also confesses to concocting a dangerous combination by mixing dubious medicine with soda. The farewell letter unveils a deep resentment within Min. He confesses his hatred towards his father for exploiting his wife's income to remain entangled in the MLM cult. Min also expresses frustration with his condescending brother, who consistently belittled him, making him feel insignificant. Although he loved his mother, he found it disheartening that she was seldom present, leaving him yearning for Pi, who became the sole source of light in his life. One evening, Min visits P and is shocked to witness her teacher engaging in inappropriate behavior with her, despite Pi seemingly tolerating it. The following day, Min disrupts the elite class, delivering a punch to the teacher and whisking Pi away with him. When they confront each other on the rooftop, Min unleashes his fury, causing Pi to break down in tears. Pi clarifies that she dislikes the teacher, but endures him for the opportunity to join the Olympics team, which she believes will secure a better future for her career. Feeling that Pi no longer needs him, Min gestures towards the ground, suggesting she should end things for herself. Min's father is summoned to the school to discuss the incident with the principal, prompting him to wonder why Min can't be normal. In response, Min confronts his father about what he did to Rudy's ring. Sometime later, Min decides to surprise his mother at her workplace, following the address on the back of her business card. However, he accidentally stumbles upon the revelation that Rudy has been involved with a secret boyfriend. When Rudy notices Min's presence, she attempts to explain the situation, but Min flees in tears. Back in his hometown, Min seeks solace by the bridge amidst the rain, contemplating whether he should once again end his life. Suddenly, the raindrops cease their motion, and the guardian emerges, inquiring if Min has found the answer. Min responds with a proclamation of hatred towards his life and a lack of blame towards the real Min for his actions. Instead, he places blame on his family and Pi, asserting that they cannot be trusted. The Hourglass continues to count down, signifying that his response is incorrect. The Guardian reminds Min that he has 3 days remaining. Upon returning home, Min releases his frustration by smashing his belongings in his room. Shortly after, Lai arrives, seeking the finished drawing. Min, consumed by annoyance, speaks harshly to Lai, stating that the original Min never considered her a friend and will never reciprocate her feelings. Min confesses that he missed school due to his previous suicide attempt, deliberately omitting any mention of Lai in his farewell letter. Tearfully, Lai departs. Later in the evening, Min accompanies his father to pick up Rudy from work. Despite her fatigue and desire to go home, Min insists on going out to dinner together. He also reveals that he visited her at work, intending to make her feel guilty. At the restaurant, Min pretends to use the restroom, but secretly observes his parents, noticing his father returning the ring. However, Rudy's confession of her affair shatters any potential happiness. Min's father departs alone, leaving Min and Rudy alone in the car. In tears, Rudy apologizes to Min and explains that she ended her relationship with her other boyfriend to prioritize her commitment to her family. Min adamantly rejects Rudy's apology, asserting that he is not her son and blaming her for the death of her real son due to her perceived shortcomings as a mother. Their argument escalates, causing Rudy to be momentarily distracted and fail to notice an approaching vehicle, resulting in a car crash. Hours later, Min regains consciousness in the hospital. Concerned for his mother's well-being, he rushes to her side only to be informed by Men that she is in critical condition. Men questions why Min didn't confide in him instead of resorting to self-destructive actions, emphasizing that Min is loved by others. Uninjured, Min is discharged from the hospital and returns home, where he discovers the durian dessert left for him by Rudy and the kaleidoscope gifted to him by Pi. Min recognizes his own selfish behavior and sets out to make amends with his club by finally completing the drawing. The following day, the Olympics team announces their participation in an important tournament. Pi is expected to deliver a speech, but seeing Min in the crowd fills her with guilt, leading her to flee. Min locates her in a classroom, on the verge of doing something reckless with a glass cup. He offers a sincere apology and embraces her, explaining that his anger had clouded his judgment during the previous altercation. Min reassures Pi that she shouldn't blame herself as the responsibility lies solely with the teacher. Feeling somewhat relieved, Pi musters the courage to report the teacher's abuse to the principal. With little time remaining to practice a new design, Min leaves his drawing for Pi, accompanied by a message of support. Afterwards, Min visits the card's stunt club during their rehearsal. He extends an apology to Lai, expressing his regret for not appreciating her kindness in the past. Lai accepts his apology and reveals that since Min didn't bring a new drawing, she shared one of his old ones with the team. To Min's astonishment, the team unexpectedly creates a formation resembling his new drawing of Pi at the bridge. Memories from the previous Min's life flood Min's mind, vividly depicting the cherished moments he shared with his beloved family and Pi. Overwhelmed by emotions, Min tumbles down the stairs, causing the hourglass, now frozen, to fall from his pocket. Suddenly, Min finds himself back in his room, with the Guardian assuming the form of his reflection. Min finally comprehends that he is not a random soul, but the original Min who perished due to his inability to appreciate the blessings in his life, an outcome he acknowledges as his own fault. The Guardian congratulates him on his realization and clarifies that the tests serve as a means to unveil the truth. Min will not be reborn elsewhere. He can continue with this life. After the Guardian vanishes, Min awakens once again at school, and the hourglass is no longer present. Lai checks on him, and Min embraces her in celebration before rushing to the hospital, where he discovers that Rudy has regained consciousness. She confides in Min about her impending divorce from his father, allowing Min to make the decision of whom to live with. Rudy assures him that she won't hold it against him if he chooses his father, as she acknowledges her shortcomings as a mother. In tears, Min offers a heartfelt apology to Rudy, expressing his remorse for his past behavior and pledging never to have any regrets about being her son. With their emotions laid bare, Min resumes his regular routine. When Pi sends him a message announcing her medal victory, he fulfills his end of the agreement by running a few laps along the bridge, with soap covering his head and clad only in his underwear.